Hey, I'm Ayuma Michelle, and welcome to Let's with Ayuma. On this channel, it's an online safe space where progressive women from all around the world can actually learn how to thrive with purpose. On today's video, I'll share this theme that I've been noticing in many of my women networks. And it's a very serious one considering that a pandemic is upon us. Yet, of all times, this thing is actually coming up. And that is the issue of how to manage toxic workspaces during this pandemic. It's very unfortunate, but then I'd like to let you ladies know something. There's a big difference between a leader and a person with authority. Those are two different things. People who have authority aren't necessarily leaders, because sometimes people with authority are abusive. People with authority normally demand things out of people, command. But leaders inspire people to take positive action, inspire people to bring out their best, to do their best. Those are true leaders. And the fact that I'm seeing that there are symptoms within my women networks, within even some of my friends sharing some of this with me, it's a serious issue. And I know that all around the world, people they've put the pandemic by itself, COVID-19 on a huge pedestal. What I'm really concerned about is that other issues are being downplayed. And therefore, even though we end up sorting out this COVID situation, if it ends, there might be a multiple length of stuff that we might end up dealing with. First and foremost, there's already menstrual health issues. Menstrual health. This is Menstrual Health Awareness Month. But then also there's issues like, let's say, to do with violence, issues to do with unemployment. There are lots of stuff that are happening in the background. And so I'd like to let you know that it is just as important as the pandemic. You get what I mean? It is just as important. So with regards to this work and toxic workspaces, remember that not every single person who has authority is a leader. A leader in some way is a servant, putting other people first, ensuring that you give your best. He or she brings out the best in you. You get what I mean? So that's what leadership is about. So I'm going to share with you a few tips, not a few tips, like actual wisdom that I've gotten from actual experts within my women networks, but also some of the advice that I've shared with some clients and some of my friends within my women networks who are facing such situations, right? But let me start by mentioning that, first of all, not every scenario is the same. So that means each scenario needs to be treated differently, right? Also, I am very much aware that because of the pandemic, there's some people who might not be able to leave their jobs. But there are also some situations which require you to leave no matter what. But there's also some people who've gone through job loss. Other people have gone through retrenchment. Other people are currently working remotely. Other people are required to show up physically at work. And there are other people who are literally 24/7 essential service workers. You get what I mean? But there are also people who've started new jobs, who've started at their new jobs during this pandemic. And there are also people who started new businesses with new staff members, for example, because maybe your business at this moment is skyrocketing because of the nature of this pandemic. Maybe you're working online or something of the sort, or maybe you're providing essential services. But know that in all of these scenarios, the scenarios I'm going to share with you, the advice, it actually applies to each one of these scenarios. There are people who've entered new jobs and they're like, wow, so this is an actual toxic workplace. There are people who have gone through job loss because of a toxic workplace. There are people who've been retrenched because of that. But in all of these scenarios, remember, it goes back down to leadership. Anytime there's a toxic workplace, know that there's a leadership issue. It means that the leaders, there either isn't a leader in this organization. They're just people with authority, or the leaders are sleeping. The leaders are sleeping. And more than ever during this time, leaders need to wake up and take charge of the spaces, of the places where they're having influence. in terms of the kind of work that they do. So remember, any single time you feel that your the workplace, the place in which you're working, anytime you feel that it is toxic, or anytime you feel that there's a lot of conflict at your area of work, know that it's because one of your core values has actually been touched on. It's actually been rattled, right? So it means one of your core values, or a couple of your core values, have been violated, right? So anytime you feel like you're facing so much conflict at your workplace, just know it's because some of your core values have been violated. And remember, I'm talking about core values. It's very different for other people. There are other people who might hear you saying that your workspace or your workplace is toxic, and then they're like, what do you mean? This is the best place I've ever worked in. It all goes back to core values. Your core values might not be the same with them. You get what I mean? So, and also remember that for example, if you're working remotely, I've heard from so many people saying that, oh, you're just working from home, or you're just working from home. But guess what? People who work from home actually end up working longer hours. Just have that in mind. Working from home, actually you end up working longer hours. So have that in mind when you're creating a routine, a healthy work routine that helps you separate, your working hours from the hours which, are supposed to take care of other very important parts of your life. Don't allow work to creep in and to steal from other very important parts of your life. And yes, the pandemic is upon us, but remember, it is because of that reason that you actually need to take care of other areas of your life. Work isn't everything. Remember, there's a video that I shared in the Let's Stay Home Clarity Coaching campaign. Remember, especially the one with vision, there are 12 areas of your life that it needs to all balance out. If it's not just those two areas, the traditional areas of work and finances, those are not the two most important areas of your life. You have 12. And those are just some of the ones that I was able to come up with, right? Those are 12. So make sure that it all balances out. So remember, realize that so that your work does not steal or creep into the other very important areas of your life. So situation one. Situation one is a situation at work where there's a lot of abuse, whatever manner of abuse. There's sexual, there's physical, there's emotional, there's even, what is it called? There's even emotional abuse, there's even verbal, there's all manner of abuse. There's abuse, there's harassment, there's violence, there's harm, there's stress, high stress levels, and there's also a loss of dignity. This is situation one, and this is the most dangerous situation. In this situation, please just leave. Please just leave. And the reason why I say just leave is because as a coach, I have noticed that the more and more you allow yourself to tell yourself a false story, at some point it will end up telling your mind that this is what you deserve. This is your reality. And this is how things are supposed to be. If you stay in a very abusive environment for a very long time, it's either you change your environment or you continue. Because the environment is not necessarily going to change, especially in environments where abuse is allowed, where discipline is not taken seriously. Remember, the leader is either sleeping or there isn't any existing leader. In such a situation, realize that the situation may not ever change. The situation may never ever change. So realize in this situation, the best way to deal with it is to leave. Because for how long will you allow somebody to treat you with a lack of dignity? Especially for women. For how long will you allow yourself to stay in stress levels, high stress levels all the time? For how long will you allow yourself to keep working in an environment of violence? Right? For how long? And remember, this is just your work life. And if you don't protect yourself in this work life, whatever is happening in your work life will start pouring into other areas of your life. If you're a parent, all of that you're experiencing at work, it'll pour into your children. If you're married or you have or you're betrothed or something, it will pour into your relationships and into your marriage. Realize that if you're living in a beautiful environment, and if you have like a spiritual community, for example, if you have a church and you have lots of amazing people who depend on you or that you actually share with, can you imagine? All of that will pour into that life. So please protect not only yourself, but also the people in your life by protecting them from experiencing an overflow of whatever experiencing at a toxic workplace. Situation 2. So realize with situation 1 that I've also been there. I've been there and I have never regretted leaving a toxic workplace. Never. I have never regretted that. Right? And even the people in my life supported me. They did not make me feel like I'm making a bad decision. I literally left. You know? So just remember that. And then the second situation 2, a toxic work culture, but one where you can't leave. So yes, I understand that in some situations, you know, people might not necessarily be able to leave, and maybe it might not be as serious, you know, it may not have violence and stuff like that, but it might still be toxic, but you're not in a position where you can leave. Realize that you can limit your exposure to the toxic people at your workplace or even physical engagement. You can ask to work from home, or you can just limit exposure, meaning keep it strictly business. What does this mean? Avoid gossip at work, like do not engage. Go there, do your work, leave. That means do not engage in workplace gossip, you know, do not engage in rumors, do not even engage in small talk, because small talk can easily lead into engaging into a rumor and gossip. Just avoid it all because you do not want to play a part in all of this. Keep it strictly work. Work within the timings of work. If you're supposed to work from 9 to 5, keep it 9 to 5. Keep it 9 to 5 and do a great job. Focus, right? And then also keep your communication official. I have had so many friends who've told me, oh my goodness, if it wasn't for official communication, this person would have run me down the path. Please make sure you keep your communication official. Keep those emails going, right? If you have any issue to address and stuff like that, keep it on email. Don't keep it verbal and stuff like that. You'll end up engaging in rumors. Keep those emails going because guess what? If there's any issue, disciplinary issue that you need to report, you have an email communication to back you up. I've literally had people who've literally had email communications that protected them from getting fired or from getting into situations where some people are trying to run them under the bus. So remember that. Keep your communication on point, official and on record. Situation 3. And these are just a few because I understand that context really matters. But these are just some of the top ones that I've thought about which apply to very common toxic workplace issues and cultures. So situation 3, it's where there's a clear lack of good leadership. This either means you have a leader who's asleep, who's afraid to do hard things, to make the tough choices, for example, especially disciplinary choices. Or if you have a workplace where there are people with authority, but there's literally no culture of actual leadership. This is what you could do. The reason why sometimes you can feel disturbed by something is because maybe you are the one to actually lead. You are the one to actually lead, you know? So remember, you can position yourself as a champion for change and pull people towards good, right? You can pull people towards good by positioning yourself as a champion for change. So let's say people keep leaving work late. Leave work early. Not even early, leave work on time and say that my family needs me. For example, in Kenya, there's a curfew between 7 p.m. and 5 a.m. Say that there's a curfew. I need to leave early. If you're working from home, stop work at those working hours. Say that my children need me and I need to take care of them. Or for you, say that I actually need to take care of myself. The people in my life actually need my attention right now. Create those boundaries, like lead, show them what that is like. Because some people might be there, they literally do not know what this is like. If some people keep trying to talk about like rumors or trying to engage you with rumors, just say that, do you know what? The most loving thing you can do to people right now is just do some good. Don't share anything bad about somebody. Just either keep quiet or share something good about them. And guess what? It won't happen. This change won't happen until someone leads it. And you could be the one to lead it. In a work culture where people are consistently stepping on each other, saying nasty things, be the different one. Say positive things about others. Congratulate people about the great progress that you've made, right? Challenge people to stop the negative culture. Call it out. And yes, I do know sometimes when you call out some habits in people, they might not necessarily be willing to listen. But do it anyway. That's what leadership requires. Doing difficult things, making tough choices, helping people see the stuff that they're doing and the danger of the stuff that they're doing, because it ends up affecting the entire workplace. Realize that. Situation 4 is where there's high job insecurity. High job insecurity. I tell you, in a workplace where there's high job insecurity, trust you me, I've worked in the NGO world and also in the media world. Those sectors, there's high job insecurity. And this is what you could do. Number 1, figure out, what does safety and security look like for your colleagues? Mind you, this is you stepping up. This is you stepping up as an actual leader. A leader does not necessarily mean a CEO. Remember that. A leader does not necessarily mean a COO or CFO. A leader is somebody who rises above a situation and leads people towards a better route, right? And making better decisions. So realize, ask your workmates, just engage with them in some discourse and just ask them, what does safety and security look like? What does safety and security look like? Because in such a workplace, everyone is protecting their circle. People will now start politicking and start saying, no, this person has my back, this person has my back. Or constantly, sometimes people are just negative. You're just like, why is this person so negative? Without realizing that this person is telling themselves a story that they no longer have their jobs. So realize that you need to figure out what does safety and security look like for this person. And then also try to understand their trigger. What is causing them to feel so insecure? What is making them feel like they've lost their job even though they still have it? What's making them feel like they have a lack of safety and security? And then just speak life to them. Tell them, take charge of your job. If you feel insecure about this job, then do a great job. Sometimes people are normally like, oh, just do bare minimum. No, don't do bare minimum. Do your very best. So that even though people let you go, you have amazing KPIs that you can use to apply for your next opportunity. Let it never be said that you are never a good worker. Let it never be said that you didn't do a great job because you dropped the ball thinking you're going to lose the job. In fact, do such a great work that by the time they're even attempting to let you go, they'll be like, oh my gosh, you must be making a really bad mistake. Be that person. Inspire them to give their best, even when it feels like they're in their worst place, right? Situation 5, which is the last one. Situation 5, a workplace where there's lack of vision or motivation. You have no idea where this organization is going, whether the leader is sleeping or there isn't an existent one. Or there's just a lack of motivation. Everyone is busy telling you stories of gloom and doom. Oh, look at what's happening in the world. Oh, look at this. Oh, look at this. Like people who are just doom and gloom. Be the source of motivation. Especially if you're feeling this way, it's because probably you're feeling like people are getting into your motivation. They're really watering it down. If you're noticing this, it probably means that you're a person who's in a place where you can actually take charge of a situation. So do not give in. What you can do instead is realize that you are motivated or you're positive despite what your workplace situation is like for a reason. Use that to your advantage, right? So figure it out. What does motivation or vision look like for your colleagues? Challenge them. Challenge them to figure out what does motivation, what motivates them, and challenge them to keep doing it. And I'm saying this because many of the women I serve and many of the women I speak to and many of you who have actually been tuning into this channel are people in leadership positions. I've noticed that you're women in leadership positions in one way or another, whether you're employed or self-employed. So realize that you can actually challenge people to get motivated, to do of what motivates them, and then to bring some of that motivation into work. Also, acknowledge their good behavior. Sometimes people lack motivation because they are consistently told what they are not good at, right? They are consistently, told what is wrong with them. So what you can do is acknowledge their good behavior and let them know about it. Remember, whatever is celebrated will be repeated. I'll say that again. Whatever is celebrated will be repeated. If you celebrate good behavior, that good behavior will be repeated. So do that for your colleagues. And so I'll give you my final 3, which is a roundup of like some serious stuff that you need to take into consideration. Whenever you find yourself in a very heated like situation, because even though it's a toxic workplace, you realize that there are these waves. Sometimes it's really up there, sometimes it's low-key, right? But when it's really up there, walk out of the situation. You never gain anything, and you're not weak by walking away. Walk away from a situation, disengage from a situation. And you're not a smaller person by doing that. Walk away, take a walk somewhere at the parking lot or something. Don't engage at all, because this could then be a trap. Realize if you're having such confrontations, especially at your workplace, you're looking bad. You're looking bad to your bosses, you're looking bad to your colleagues. So nothing good can ever come from that. And if there's any disciplinary action and people are asked for witnesses, you will be there. People will have seen you. So that's why I'm telling you, don't engage, walk away, take a walk, take a breather. Because when you take a breather and just take a walk, you'll reflect on your actions. You'll reflect on the situation and you'll be able to respond better. Also, just pray and meditate. Just say a prayer. Powerful things happen. Or meditate. For me, I'm a Christian. I'm a born-again Christian. So I normally meditate on God's word. Like what does God's word say about this? Just meditate. Even breathe. Sometimes even just breathing helps. Taking deep breaths in, deep breaths out. It can really calm your mind from feeling agitated, so that now you're able to start processing things in a more balanced way. Also, don't overwork. Do not overwork. Work within your work areas. And if they bring any disciplinary action, go back to your contract, ask the HR manager, what are our working hours? Isn't this what my contract says? Yes. Stick to that. And then remember to take some breaks, create boundaries. Remember, when people now start having those coffee table talks, the coffee table talks about, rumors, or are you seeing what's happening here, or are you seeing all this negativity, or what? Walk away from all that. Set boundaries. Tell people that there's already enough that's happening with you and you're trying your best to stay positive. So you're not going to engage in any negative stuff. Or if it's rumors, say that you're not going to engage in information that doesn't yet have proof. But if it's gossip, just say that, no, I do not want to talk ill of my workmates. I need you guys to be positive, and that's why I'm trying to be positive around you. So create those boundaries to just protect yourself. And then also separate your work drama. I touched on this before. Separate your work drama from your happy place. Your happy place Could be your children, your husband, your home, your spiritual community, your close friends, your parents, your happy place. That is your happy place. Protect, separate work drama from these places. And that's why I say it's so important not to engage so much, because you don't want all of that drama to pour into your personal life. Do you want your kids to suddenly be complaining about how you shout at them and it's because you're shouted at work? No, we do not want that. And then the last one is, this is my favorite. Start preparing for your next best opportunity now. Start preparing for your next best opportunity now. If a workplace is toxic, disciplinary action is not being taken, managers are trying to throw people under the bus, no one is interested in being motivated or actually doing something meaningful, everyone is talking bad stuff about everyone, guess what? Not the bare minimum. Do your best. Keep things strictly work, and put all of that positive energy in preparing for your next best opportunity. Start working on your CV. Start networking. Start looking for those job opportunities. And because you know what your core values are, because your current workplace has dishonored them, you're now very well aware of what you need from a positive workplace. So even when you're interviewing, go on LinkedIn, find out which people are working there, ask them if these core values are present, if they are being honored, right? Or people who've recently left the organization, interview them and ask them, you guys, like, does this workplace honor XYZ core values? Like, how do they, what is the situation like? Only then will you get sort of a view, a sneak peek of what these core values look like at that workplace. And let me tell you, sometimes it might even require a pay cut. But sometimes peace of mind is so precious to a point where if you even have to take a pay cut, take it. Peace of mind. Sometimes you will be so shocked that the places where people are paid so much money, it's because the organization owns you. Meaning, in the middle of the night, if your boss calls you, you better pick up that phone, because they'll be like, this is why we pay you all that money. So realize sometimes money isn't everything. Sometimes money literally trades for peace of mind. Peace of mind, I tell you, is so powerful. So those are some of the things I wanted to share with you. And I know, of course, it won't touch on every single situation, but this is just the best that I could share with you. This is some of the advice I've shared with some of my clients and also some of my friends, and also what has been discussed in some of my women networks. It is not easy. And especially with the whole pandemic around, you'd expect or you'd think that people would rise above with good behavior and with kindness, a level of empathy. But sadly, it's not the case, because good leaders are very rare finds. Very, very rare finds. So not only can you empower yourself to be that leader that your workplace needs, or you can start preparing yourself for your next best opportunity where such leadership is taken seriously. That's all I could share with you today. Please comment below and let me know which other situations you've actually experienced during this pandemic with regards to toxic workplaces. I'll be around on the chat section to respond to some of the ones that you bring up. Let us discuss and let us see what you can come up with. Maybe I have the answers, maybe I don't, but maybe I could refer somebody who could actually help, right? So this is Let's with Ayuma, an online safe space where I'm empowering progressive women from around the world to thrive with purpose. Remember to like, comment, and to press that button, subscribe, and let us keep growing together during this time. It's a moment of interruption, but it's not the end for us, right? We are going to thrive with purpose. I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.